Hello everyone and welcome back to another average review. I know I already uploaded that bullseye video, but hell, why not another? Cause I actually got 3 other figures with that bullseye. One of them being the Marvel Legends 80th anniversary Mighty Thor. Although, in case you're wondering what else I also got this live-action Mr. Fantastic, which came with these cool-looking, stretchy plugins for his hands, and also this movie Ghost Rider who can fully light up, which is pretty awesome. We had to buy new batteries, but still, it's awesome this guy can still light up. But one of the most exciting ones besides the bullseye was this Thor. Since I only got it for $15 compared to the $40 it goes for loose on eBay. Let's get through this packaging pretty quickly because there's not much to say other than it's really nice. The Marvel Legends 80 years packaging from a couple years ago is some of the best with the nice red and blacks, and also this flawless Jack Kirby art on the side. To my knowledge, this was from his recreation of the original Avengers issue cover. We also see Thor's bio on the back and another beautiful Alex Ross piece. We can see a bunch of other characters along with Thor and his brother Loki. We'll take a look at Loki that in my mind perfectly captures the Jack Kirby and Alex Ross versions, and we also have that same Thor on the back here, or on the side. But let's bust this guy out already. Alright, I got him out of the package, and I'm in love. I mean, seriously, look at this figure! Look at it, this is the most classic Thor I've ever seen. Now, I haven't gotten into reviewing him yet, but I think I can confidently say, this is probably the greatest classic Thor figure ever made. Look at his head sculpt. That's beautiful. Even though it's a couple years old, it still fits in with some of the newer Hasbro figures with the face printing technology. Look at those flowing locks and that classic helmet with the wings. His cape is massive and billowing. Look at the maroon and the dry brushing that's on the cape to give it some shading and shadows. His torso, once again, perfect. We got this nice line and texturing running through the white discs on the armor along with the Thor belt. Some really good big muscular arms for, well, the Thunder God Thor. His little wristbands and his hammer Mjolnir, which has the full inscription of the whole, whoever holds this hammer has the power of Thor. Just all on there, along with the little strap at the bottom that he spins around. He's got really good legs with these, parts of the black down here on the thigh piece, and the amazingly painted yellow straps and knee pads on his boots. And something even better, he's got these little things just on his, actual feet, and they're painted a metallic yellow to look different from the rest of the yellow on the boots. I mean, oh, this is perfect. But enough gushing about how good the figure looks. Let's take a look at his articulation. Now, Thor's head is on a disc hinge, but because of his long locks, he can't really move back or forth or turn side to side much. His upper torso has a diaphragm joint, so he can move forward, back, tilt side to side, and spin around, along with a waist cut, which allows him to spin around there. He's got arms that can lift up above 90 degrees and spin around, a little limited by that cape, but it's actually pretty loose, so it'll actually move back when his arms are moved back. He's got a bicep swivel, which lets his arms spin around like so. Double jointed elbows with a really good bend for how beefy his arms are. And his hand can spin around and hinge back and forth. But his right hand, which can hold Mjolnir, actually spins around and hinges up and down, which works really nicely for different Mjolnir poses. Now, at his hips, he can kick forward this far. Hold on, his legs aren't really being the most cooperative. He can kick forward this far and split this far, which is really good. He's got a thigh cut, which allows his legs to spin around, and double jointed knees with a pretty good bend. Now, one thing I didn't even notice this figure had was a boot cut that allows his boot to spin around. This is because it's seamlessly integrated into the bandages on his boots. Now, he's got feet that can hinge backwards, forwards, and pivot side to side. Really good articulation on this figure. The only way I think it could be better is, well, since he's already not getting much back and forth, maybe put a dumbbell joint in the neck so he can at least get some tilt side to side. Though he does kind of get a bit. Or maybe, I don't know, add butterfly joints, but with how this figure's looks is engineered, I don't know if that would have been possible, so I'm happy with this. Now, Thor needs to be big, and we'll see that this guy is pretty well sized in our comparisons. Starting off with the Sorry about that, there's something about Spider-Man girlfriends just falling randomly. But for our standard male and female bodies that we use for this series, here's Thor with the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man and Spinneret. Now for the Jade Giant, here's Thor with two versions of the Incredible Hulk. The left is the Toy Biz Hulk Classics War Hulk, and the right is actually the Hasbro Marvel Legends Maestro with the 20th Anniversary Hulk head, since my regular 20th Anniversary Hulk is in a display right now. Still, same body, same size. We can see that the Hasbro one is bigger than Thor, which makes sense. Hulk's a big monster. Although, I think that the Toy Biz Hulk on the left does do pretty good for a Jack Kirby-sized Hulk. But hey, Hulk ain't the only Avenger next to Thor. Here's Thor with two versions of Captain America. On the left, we have the Hasbro 20th Anniversary one, which shares the same body with the 80th Anniversary Captain America. And on the right, we have the Toy Biz Face-Off Cap. Both of these look really nice with this Thor. And of course, he's taller than both, so it works. Now, for the Iron Avenger, here we have Iron Man. The left is the first appearance Iron Man from the Avengers 60th Anniversary wave, since it's the most similar Iron Man that I have to when he first appeared in the Avenger, although at that point, his costume was gold instead of silver. And on the right, we have the Marvel Legends Retro Neo-Classic Iron Man. Just like Cap, these scale well, with the first appearance one actually being a little taller, which makes sense since, well, he's a giant bulky suit of armor instead of a regular bulky suit of armor. For Thor's most awesome ally, though, here he is with Beta Ray Bill. Now, to my knowledge, this Thor and Beta Ray Bill share a good couple of parts, but Bill has plenty of new ones, like his shoulder pads, cape, hands, Stormbreaker, and that awesome head. These figures scale really well together, and best of all, they look good together. Now, if only we could get a classic Beta Ray Bill on a body based off of this Thor. But Thor doesn't just have associated heroes, he's also associated with a couple villains. Let's start out with the Destroyer, specifically the one from the Avengers 60th Anniversary Thor and Destroyer 2-pack. Similar to this Thor, I think this Destroyer is pretty much flawless. And of course, he towers over Thor, which is fitting. But for Thor's most famous villain, we have Loki. In fact, it was Loki that caused the Avengers to form. But I actually have two versions of a classic Loki here. On the left, we have the retro-carded one, which is much more comic accurate than the one on the right, which is the Loki TV show Classic Loki. But I kinda prefer this one. I know it's a bit strange to say that the less accurate to the comics version is my favorite, but I don't know, something about this classic Loki just works for me, especially his less muscular frame and also being a bit shorter than the retro card version, which I think looks really good next to the comic Thor. And hey, he's still got the cool goofy horn helmet, which is always appreciated. But also, I'd like you to consider this head swap with the comic Loki head on the classic Loki body. I don't know, I just kind of like how this looks. And finally, here's the 80th anniversary Thor with Hitmonkey and Goliath. Wait a minute, did I say Hitmonkey and Goliath were the last comparison? Well, that was kind of a lie. Because I'm actually going to quickly compare two figures and say which one I think is better. Now, this Thor right here is the one from the aforementioned Thor and Destroyer 2-pack. We can see that he's mostly reuse, just with a bit of repainting on the torso right here, you know, with the belt and this little exposed skin area on the side, along with the discs actually being painted silver, along with down here, the bottom two discs being removed. He's got new boots, but also just a new head, a repainted cape, and different wristbands, along with a different Mjolnir. Let's actually quickly compare the Mjolnirs, alright? So, here on the left we have the Destroyer 2-pack hammer. We can see it's gray. Not really much difference in the grays on the actual hammer and the text. I mean, there might be a bit of difference, but it's mostly just sculpting. But we can see that this hammer, the one from the 80th anniversary one, is not only a brighter gray, but also it has darker paint on the inside of the text so it stands out more, along with a brighter brown. So I think this hammer is better, and overall, the 80th anniversary Thor just looks better to me because, well, first of all, he's the more classic design. Now, that isn't to say this Thor is bad. It's still a mostly classic Thor, except with a beard and with a couple discs removed. But, like I said, this one just looks better to me with the much more yellow straps and the slightly less metallic gold and buttons, along with the really nicely shaded cape. The Destroyer 2-pack one is the same cape, just with a flat, bright red, but this one is a darker red that's got so much shading in it. I mean, seriously, that looks fantastic. But finally, let's talk about the accessories this guy comes with. There's his hammer, which I've mentioned plenty of times. I like it. It's really good. Although he comes with one other accessory, a left fist to replace his open left hand. Now, this Thor definitely could have come with more, like, yeah, I don't know, some lightning accessories, an alternate fisted right hand, but I feel like this works well enough. This Thor, in my mind, is not only the perfect Marvel Legends Thor, but maybe the perfect Thor figure in general. Yeah, he might be a little outdated, especially with those big pins in his arms, but still, this Thor figure is really good compared to any of the other figures of Thor that have been made. To me, his biggest competition is probably the Target Deluxe Ragnarok, which is basically this figure with slightly weaker paint, but also with some extra accessories and a repainted head with the glowing robotic eyes of Ragnarok, which is just a robotic copy of Thor made by Tony Stark during Civil War, along with the alternate half-destroyed face with that really nice Terminator-like skull. But we're not talking about this figure, we're talking about the 80th anniversary Thor. This figure can go for expensive prices online, but I found mine for $15 today. That's right, $15 for the best Thor figure. I don't know how much better you can get for that. But just talking about the figure itself, the dynamicness and posability, along with the perfect design, I'm giving this Thor figure a 10 out of 10.